how's it going, guys? Stonewall here with Raised by Sharks. Today we're going to bring you a Greatsword build. So before we get into it, I want to put a disclaimer out there. Yes, there are builds that will let you deal upwards of 3,000 damage in a single hit, but those are very, very situational, and average DPS, this build will out DPS it. It's just that those builds, under very specific circumstances that put you in danger of failing a quest on a regular basis, can let you hit for one time of that much damage, but on a regular basis over the course of one quest or many quests, this type of build is guaranteed to out DPS it by a lot. So the helmet you're going to want to rock is the Dragon King Eye Patch A, because it'll give you 2 weakness exploit and a big slot. The chest you want to use is dependent upon the Greatsword. The stronger version of this build is with the Leviathan's Fury, so to bring out its maximum potential you need 2 handicraft. So you would use the Kushula chest B because it gives you 2 handicraft and a medium sized slot. The gauntlets are the Nergigante Van Braces A because it gives you 2 agitator and 1 attack boost. The waist is the Nergigante Coil B for 2 attack boost and a medium slot. The boots that you would want is the Nergigante Greaves A for 1 maximum might, 1 agitator, and a small jewel slot. The charm that you're going to use is the attack charm 3 for 3 levels of attack boost. Now finally, the great swords that you would use is either the Leviathan's Fury or the Jagras Hacker 3. The build I'm showing you right now is for the Leviathan's Fury because it gives you the white sharpness, but if you use the Jagras Hacker 3, all you would have to do is change out the chest piece for the Damascus mail, so that way you get 2 focus, and you could either use the version with 2 defense, or the version with just the 2 focus and 3 slots. But note, for that build you would need to put into the Greatsword a non-elemental boost to bring it up to this level's DPS. When it comes to augmentation, you always want to go with the first one being affinity, and the rest of them attack. So obviously Leviathan's Fury can only be augmented once. You would augment with the affinity because you get 10%. After the first augment, the affinity boost will only be 5%, so after that you want to go with attack because that's going to increase your DPS by more than the 5% affinity. So that's what you would do with the second and third augmentations on the Jagras Hacker 3 if that's the greatsword you use. So in the jewel slots you're going to put a critical boost jewel in the helmet. In the chest you're going to put an attack boost, and if you're on the Jagras Hacker 3, then maybe a more defensive skill just to even it out. In the waist you're going to put a weakness exploit jewel. In the legs you're going to put a critical eye jewel. Up on the greatsword you're going to put a maximum might jewel in the first slot, and then if you're using the Jagras Hacker 3, in the second slot you would put an Elementless jewel. Overall, this build gets you the 3-piece Nergigante Hunger skill to give you health regen on hits, attack boost 7, weakness exploit 3, agitator 3, handicraft 2, or if you use the Jagras Hacker 3, that would just evenly swap out for 2 focus, maximum might 2, critical eye 1, critical boost 1. Also, if you're using the Jagras Hacker 3, you would have the 2 extra jewel slots, so that can be slightly more. So, assuming I had the Dora gem to get the affinity augmentation, which I'll be doing very soon, the final attack value you would get on the Leviathan's Fury version of this build is 397, as well as the 300 Dragon Element and average Elder Seal. So that means that the damage is absolutely excellent. The only thing is it does require a couple of rare parts, and to keep it in the white sharpness you're going to have to sharpen pretty frequently. And if you opt for the Jagras Hacker 3, that one's final version of attack is 392, but you also do have 2 extra jewel slots to mess around with, and it's a little bit easier to make as well as augment. Not to mention the fact that you would also have focus level 2 on there, making your greatsword charges slightly faster, and that doesn't show up in DPS numbers, but over the course of multiple hunts you will get in extra hits because of that. It'll stop you from being interrupted, or you might be able to get in a couple extra charge shots where you wouldn't have with this weapon. Anyway guys, that's all we have for the Greatsword build. Thank you for watching Raised by Sharks. If you like what you saw, please leave a like and subscribe.